Okay, hello, everybody. So I'm going to be introducing culturally relevant pedagogy and how it intertwines with cultural responsiveness. And I wanted to start off with a quote by Gloria Ladson-Billings, who is the person who coined the concept of culturally relevant pedagogy back in 1995. And it says, all instruction is culturally responsive. The question is, to which culture is it currently oriented? And so culturally relevant pedagogy, which I will refer to as CRP, is basically the pedagogical framework rooted in critical pedagogy and educational equity that is committed to the collective and individual empowerment of all students. And basically, this is integrating the lived experiences and cultures of all students into the curriculum, into what's being taught in classrooms, and making it relevant to the students there. And so CRP in kind of reminds me of a way of paying off that educational debt that Ladson Billings introduced in her article, the education debt. And there was an example in my demographic profile of this education gap that she outlines. And basically, there was a 20% difference in advanced placement enrollment between white students and students of color in my high school in 2020 through 2021. And that just highlights that it's an ongoing thing. It still goes on today. And so what is cultural responsiveness? And this is basically recognizing and respecting all students and their cultural identities and backgrounds. This is a contributor to CRP. This is a foundational principle of CRP. If you don't have cultural responsiveness, you might run into a lot of problems with implementing CRP, which I will kind of go over in just a second. Basically, it promotes a sense of belonging for all students. Going off of Yoso's model of community cultural wealth, it's welcoming, valuing, and acknowledging all different types of cultural wealth. And it also supports academic and socio-emotional learning. And an example from my educational leader interview, my interviewee, Lynette, she implemented cultural awareness in her classroom through taking the time to know the parents, to encourage the students and parents to keep speaking their home language because it will help them prosper and be successful in the future. And so some of the challenges in implementing CRP is the first one is deficit thinking that students of color are lacking when you come into an educational setting. Without cultural awareness or responsiveness, you might fall into this deficit thinking pattern. And the same goes with the white savior complex. And this is basically when white teachers come in to underserved communities with good intentions, but they have the mindset that they're there to save the students. And the third would be missed opportunity. And so without culturally responsive teaching, you are missing the opportunity to really make that difference, as Douglas Horsford notes that it could do more harm than good sometimes, most of the time. And the fourth one is pushback. And so Tatum highlights that engaging in active anti-racism, what CRP hits on, is that there will almost always be some sort of pushback, but the act of engaging in active anti-racism is always worth the fight. And so this leads to responsibility of educational leaders to continue to engage in active anti-racism, to engage in training and collaboration with their peers, to stay on their toes, to make sure that they are engaging in culturally responsive teaching and implementing CRP the way it's meant to. Also being racially literate, knowing the histories of students and people of color who have been oppressed and how that has shown up in the education system throughout our history in this country, and also just to advocate as much as you can wherever you can. And so I have a video here that I won't show just because I think I'm already over time. But it's basically about culture responsiveness by Jeff Duncan Andrade. And it's a really good watch. I think we might have already watched it in our discussion. But if not, give it a watch. It's really great. It really highlights the concept of culture/community responsiveness. And here are my references. So thank you guys so much for watching.